Hello everyone, my name is Gopitan Alaki Isudas and my metric number is MC240929775, and today I want to reflect on an important quote by Carol M. Tomlinson, which is differentiated instruction is not a set of strategies but a way of thinking about teaching and learning. At first glance, it might sound like differentiated instruction is just about adding extra activities or tools for our classroom. But Tomlinson's words push us to think deeper. What she really means is that differentiated is a mindset, a philosophy of teaching that recognizes learners are not identical, and so teaching can be identical either. So to me, this quote means that as a future educator, my role is not to apply the same recipe to every student. Instead, I must be flexible, responsive, and creative so that learning is meaningful for each and every child. In this presentation, I will explain about how this mindset connects four critical components of differentiated instruction, which is readiness, interest, learning style, and the learning environment. Then I will share a classroom example where differentiated instruction can be applied, and finally I will reflect on what this means for my future teaching practice. So the first point is readiness. Readiness is about where students are right now in their learning. Not all students start at the same point, even if they are in the same grade. Some may already master a topic while others are still building the basic skills. If I think about mathematics, for an example, one student might be comfortable solving fraction while another still struggles with multiplication. A traditional one-size-fits-all lesson would fail both of the students. The advanced student will be bored and the struggling student would feel lost. Differentiation as a mindset reminds me to ask, what if the next for these students could mean offering enrichment tasks to extend higher level learners, or scaffolding with visuals and step-by-step guidance for those who need support. It's not about lowering expectation, it's about providing the right level of challenges for everyone so that everyone can master it. So moving to the second idea, which is interest, the second component where students' learning connects with what excites students' motivation naturally increase. Take history as an example. If I am teaching about ancient civilization, not all students will find the same aspect engaging. Some may love architecture, others may be fascinated by food, and others may be drawn to myths and rulers. Instead of forcing everyone to write the same essay, I could allow choice. One student might design a model of Roman building, another could research recipe, and another might write a creative play about Julius Caesar. This doesn't mean I am lowering the academic bar. All students are still engaging with essential concepts of history, but in the ways that spark their curiosity. Differentiation as a mindset tells me that interest is not a distraction. It's actually powerful entry into deeper learning. Now, let's move to the third skill, which is learning style. We know students process information differently. Some are more visual, others are auditory, and some are more kinesthetic. While learning style theories can be debated, what is undeniable is the variety benefits all learners. For an example, if I am teaching photosynthesis in science subject, I might show an animation of diagram for visual learners. I could explain it through a story discussion. For auditory learners, I could guide a hands-on experience with plants for kinesthetic learners. So, the goal isn't to pigeonhole students into one's fixed learning style, but to provide multiple representation of the same concept. By this way, every learner has a chance to connect with the material in a way that makes sense to them, and it really helps them to catch it quickly. Finally, the learning environment is the foundation. This goes beyond the physical classroom setup. It's also about the emotional and social climate. A differentiation mindset means I see the classroom as a community of learners rather than a group of individuals competing. That means arranging the space to support both group work and independent study, encourage respect so students feel safe to risk and make mistakes, building an atmosphere where differences are celebrated, not hidden. If students feel safe, valued, and included, they will be far more willing to engage actively in their learning instead of their running away from being exposed by their peers. Differentiation begins with that environment of trust and respect. Now, let's imagine I am teaching a mathematics lesson on fraction. In the same class, students will have different level of readiness, different interests, and different way of learning. Here's how I would differentiate. The first is readiness. Some students may still struggle with basics or dividing shapes into equal parts. For them, I could provide hands-on manipulative like fraction circle or bars to build understanding. Others who are more advanced could solve word problem involving fraction in real-life context, such as recipe or money. The most advanced learner could be challenged to compare fraction, convert them to decimals, or apply them in problem-solving tasks like calculating discounts. So that is how I would input the first idea. Moving to interest. So to spark curiosity, I can connect fraction to areas that interest students. For example, those who love sports can calculate player statistics like shooting accuracy or wins ratios. Students interested in food can work with recipe, adjusting ingredient amounts. Others who enjoy gaming and analyze game scores and probabilities. By tailoring example to what excites them, maths become more meaningful to them. So, the third point, learning style. Specifically for visual learners, I could use diagram chat or fraction apps. For auditory learners, I might explain concepts through stories and peers discussion. So for the last one, the kinesthetic learners, I could use like paper or cut and fold papers, physically explore how fraction works. Or I also can use pizza as a example by turning the slices or chocolate bars as a example for them. To moving to the last point, which is learning environment, I would encourage collaborative group work where students or mixed ability strategies. At the same time, I would provide quiet corners for independent practice for those who prefer working alone. Respectful dialogue would be emphasized so that every student feels safe asking questions and shared solution without fear and without being judged. Nowadays, students are really scared to come up with the questions because they always scared that their peers or the teachers will judge them. But in my class, I won't do such a thing so that my student will feel safe and comfortable to share their ideas with me. As I reflect on this quote, I realize it is shaping my identity as a future teacher. For me, differentiated instruction means inclusive teaching in action. It challenges me to see the diversity as a strength, not as a problem. Every student, regardless of their readiness, interest, or learning preferences, deserves to feel that the classroom was designed for them. In my future practice, this mindset will guide me in several ways. I will plan lesson with flexibility, knowing that students will not all respond the same way, so that I will use formative assessment to check readiness and adjust my teaching. I will provide choice and variety so that students can learn in ways that excite and empower them. Most importantly, I will build a classroom culture that celebrates differences, where students feel safe, valued, and capable of growth. To conclude this, Tomlinson quote reminds me that differentiation is not about collecting techniques, but about embracing a philosophy for teaching that is centered, flexible, and inclusive. By applying this mindset, I hope not only teach content but also nurture confident, motivated, and lifelong learners. That's all from me. I am Gopinath Analaki Esudas. Thank you everyone.